Sir Anthony Hopkins, the legendary Welsh actor renowned for his chilling portrayal of Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, has laid bare the darkest chapters of his existence in his poignant memoir, We Did OK, Kid. At the age of 87, Hopkins confronts the ghosts that have shadowed his path with unflinching honesty, revealing how a relentless battle with alcohol nearly claimed his life and irreparably fractured his early family bonds. His narrative is not merely a recounting of fame and accolades but a raw excavation of personal demons, addiction, depression, and the profound sorrow of abandoning his first wife and infant daughter. Through these confessions, Hopkins emerges not as an untouchable icon but as a profoundly human figure, grappling with the consequences of choices made in the haze of youthful rebellion and self-destruction. Hopkins' descent into alcoholism was insidious, woven into the very fabric of his upbringing and professional world. He describes how heavy drinking was an ingrained ritual within his family, a coping mechanism passed down like an unwelcome heirloom. In the vibrant yet chaotic realm of theater, where he cut his teeth as a young performer, intoxication was glorified as a badge of artistic defiance. It was just the done thing, he reflects, capturing the era's cavalier attitude toward excess. Actors, directors, and crew alike reveled in the haze of spirits, viewing it as fuel for creativity and a shield against the vulnerabilities of the craft. For Hopkins, this normalization blurred the line between indulgence and peril, turning what began as playful camaraderie into a voracious habit that eroded his judgment and performance. The toll on his stage work was devastating. Hopkins recounts nights where he stumbled onto the boards, disoriented and oblivious to his surroundings, extending scenes by precious minutes in a fog of confusion. You used to be on stage and not know where you were or why you were there, he admits, the words heavy with the shame of a man who once commanded audiences with precision. These lapses were not isolated. They became symptomatic of a deeper unraveling. Fights with directors escalated from passionate debates to outright confrontations, fueled by the liquid courage that masked his insecurities. In the memoir, he paints a vivid picture of rebellion as a double-edged sword, exhilarating in its youth, lethal in its persistence. Yeah, we are rebels. We can fight. Who cares about the establishment? He muses, acknowledging the thrill of bucking convention during his formative years. Yet, this bravado masked a growing awareness of mortality. One pivotal moment crystallized the danger, a quiet epiphany amid the revelry where he realized, yeah, and it's going to kill you as well. It was a stark warning from within, a whisper of self-preservation amid the roar of denial. This realization did not come soon enough to spare his first marriage. In 1967, Hopkins wed Petronella Barker, an actress from a lineage of esteemed BBC performers, in a union that promised stability amid his rising career. Their daughter Abigail arrived just months later, a beacon of innocence in a household teetering on chaos. But the bottle's grip tightened, transforming domestic life into a battlefield. Hopkins confesses that alcohol served as his pacifier against boundless depression, a numbing agent for the brooding thoughts that plagued him. Evenings dissolved into rituals of procurement, bottles of whiskey smuggled from off-licenses to their flat, where solace turned to isolation. Petronella's rage clashed with his withdrawal, their incompatibilities laid bare in explosive arguments that echoed the volatility of his inner turmoil. The breaking point arrived in a storm of exhaustion and accusation. Returning from a grueling location shoot in Scotland, Hopkins dragged his suitcases into the hall, his body and spirit depleted. Before he could shed his coat, Petronella's mockery ignited the powder keg. What followed was a confrontation of unprecedented ferocity, one that unearthed a terrifying potential for violence within him. I had never been physically violent, but in that moment, I was filled with such revulsion that I became afraid for both myself and her. He writes, the admission laced with horror at his own capacity for harm. This near catastrophe underscored the unsustainability of their partnership. By the time Petronella discovered her pregnancy, the damage was irreparable. Hopkins' regret permeates these pages like a persistent ache. It's the saddest fact of my life and my greatest regret, and yet I feel absolutely sure that it would have been much worse for everyone if I'd stayed. In walking away when Abigail was a mere 12 months old, he spared them further torment, but the scar of estrangement endures. Now 57, Abigail has maintained a distance of over 2 decades, a silence that Hopkins attributes to the wounds of absence. This familial fracture was compounded by professional interventions that Hopkins rebuffed in his stubborn youth. As his drinking intertwined with deepening depression, the illustrious Laurence Olivier, actor, director and mentor, urged him to seek psychiatric help. Olivier, recognizing the peril in Hopkins' spiraling behavior, saw the makings of a career-ending crisis. Yet, pride and denial prevailed. Hopkins dismissed the counsel, plunging further into isolation. It was not until a harrowing incident in America that rock bottom asserted itself with brutal clarity. Driving all night from Arizona to Beverly Hills in a blackout stupor, Hopkins courted disaster with reckless abandon. The road blurred into a metaphor for his life. Directionless, perilous, indifferent to collateral damage. That's a deadly way to live because I didn't care about myself. I could have taken out an entire family. I knew I needed help, I knew it was over. He confesses, the gravity of potential tragedy finally piercing the veil of apathy. Sobriety's dawn broke at a mundane social gathering, where an encounter with his ex-agent prompted a raw plea, "I need help." This vulnerability ushered him into the structured sanctuary of a 12-step program in Los Angeles, a lifeline that reshaped his trajectory. Nearly 5 decades later, Hopkins celebrates this milestone not with triumphalism but with quiet gratitude, sharing his story to affirm that redemption is within reach for those willing to grasp it. His third marriage to Stella Arroyave, to whom the memoir is dedicated, stands as a testament to renewal. Meeting her after the wreckage of his first 2 unions, both casualties of alcohol's tyranny, Hopkins found in Stella a partner who anchored him through sobriety's trials. Their bond, forged in mutual respect and shared resilience, contrasts sharply with the tempests of his past. Yet even in recovery shadows linger. Hopkins grapples with the estrangement from Abigail, a rift exacerbated by her non-response to an invitation from Stella to reconnect. "My wife, Stella, sent an invitation to come and see us. Not a word of response. So I think, okay, fine. I wish her well, but I'm not going to waste blood over that," he declares, his words a blend of resignation and resolve. He refuses to dwell in resentment, viewing it as a toxin more corrosive than whiskey. "If you want to waste your life being in resentment, fine, go ahead. It's not in my ken. I could carry resentment over the past, but that's death. You're not living."